Again.
Just trying to support you, that's all.
This month's theme is the living spirit, the living light. And that's the title of today's talk as well. And the beauty of that Laura read about in her reading, that's the light. That's the light that is within each of us. So first let's talk about the living spirit. Okay, feel your pulse. You can feel it in your neck, you can feel it in your wrist. Feel that heartbeat. Something is beating your heart. Now, is it your brain beating your heart? And if so, what's making your brain work? Is it your mind beating your heart? If so, okay, let's see if we can just make it skip a beat.
Go ahead.
No.
Okay, it's not working for me. Because what I know is that it is life itself. It is spirit, the living spirit that lives as us, that breathes as us, that has its expression as each one of us in its own unique way. Now, we have control of a lot about our life, but very few on the planet, unless someone chooses suicide, very few of us get to consciously decide when our heart's going to stop beating. Very few of us get to decide how our blood is going to flow, how our digestive systems work, how it all works together to produce this amazing life on this amazingly beautiful planet. The living spirit, the living life. We are expressions of it. We are here because the spirit, the living spirit, needs to express. That's what it's all about. As it expands our galaxies and universes, as it expands in our lives, as it loves as us, and feels as us, and dreams as us. It's that living spirit, that living light. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, wrote about how we can be poised in a sense of peace, which comes from our complete faith in God as the light, the power, and the inspiration of life. Now, we know that the beauty and the busyness and the lights of Christmas are all around us, everywhere we go. And as we enter this holiday season, which is, now, of course, we know that there are other holidays and holy days this month other than Christmas, but that's the one that's the main deal. It gets the commercialism, it gets the lights, it gets the federal holiday, and that's because so many celebrate the birth of Jesus and the coming back of the light. For of course, Christmas is based on that ancient ritual of celebrating the coming of the light, the solstice. And that is what we celebrate. So as we enter the holiday season, we see, of course, the amazing decorations. We hear the familiar music that maybe becomes a little too familiar sometimes. We engage in family, religious, and cultural traditions, and we are encouraged to shop, 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 whether we can afford it or not. For some, this is a joyous time. And for some, the holiday isn't quite like it's depicted on the Hallmark commercials. For some, there's grief. This time can remind us of those that we have lost. This time can remind us that we may not have the abundance that we would like in our lives. This time isn't always easy for folks. Some are lonely. Some really don't get the feeling of community. They have not built that. Some just don't seem to be able to get the light, which is so important. In ancient times, and still in some places today, there are people who take this time of darkness, this time before solstice, when the days start to get longer again, they take the time to sit around the fires, to talk with their loved ones, to tell stories, to go within, to dream their dreams, to dream about what they want to have birthed in the springtime as the light returns. Now, for most of us, instead of having that within time in our culture, we have the busy time. We have the malls, we have the gift exchanges, the white elephants. We have the family that we want to show our love for. And yet, there's just so much going on that it's sometimes a time of busyness and a little too much stress. Now, I admit, sometimes I can be a little critical about the whole commercialism thing. Sometimes when I see people, stressed out and upset, I wish it wasn't so commercial. I wish it were a lower key. I wish it were more about connecting our light, sharing our light as we share the beauty that is in this amazing, amazing world. It doesn't have to be the overconsumption. It doesn't have to be the overindulgence. It can be. We get to choose how we do this holiday thing. And as we choose, there are some ways that we can honor the light within us. Now, first of all, just to be practical, we can honor the light within us by not spending more than we can really afford. By not putting ourselves in a position to look at the bills in January and so say, oh my God, what am I going to do? So we can do some other things. Now, Mary and I have made agreements with some of our friends and some of our family, not the kids, but because, Christmas is about kids. So we have made some agreements with some of our friends and some of our family members to, instead of buying gifts, to have a nice dinner together, or to make a donation for a favorite charity, which has worked really well for us because it takes some of the stress off. And yet we still get to have that celebration of our light and our love. So there are some things that we can do to make agreements if we need to. Does your mother or your brother or your friend really need one more thing from Amazon.com or Target or Macy's, or would they rather have some time with you? Some time to get together for tea or lunch or to do a project together that you both might enjoy? That can be a gift that gives to everyone, and we're a choice at how we do these gift things. So I encourage you to share your light by giving the gift of your presence. The light. The great teacher whose birth we celebrated Christmas said, "You are the light of the world." He didn't say, well, someday you'll be the light of the world. Or, if you work really hard and suffer a little, then maybe you'll qualify to be the light of the world. He said, you are the light of the world. That is the truth of each of us. We have each come here to shine that love, to shine that beauty, to shine the kind of light that only we can shine. And one of the things I love about this community is the light that each of you shines. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Eric Butterworth, in his book, Discover the Power Within You, said, "Ye are the light of the world." Isn't that a wonderful thought? The light of the world is the very spirit of truth. You are the very activity of God in expression. So there's no place where the light of God is any more present than where you are. And there is no one who is any more privileged to radiate that light than you are. When you shine your light, you make a difference in the world. You make a difference not only to the people around you, but it ripples out. It surrounds the globe with light. And when we shine our light, we give others the permission to shine theirs. Now, I learned this week that Ben Franklin is credited with introducing street lighting to America, to the United States. He was a postmaster in Philadelphia, and he traveled extensively in Europe, and he was really impressed by the street lights that they had in London and in other cities in Europe. And so when he came back to Philadelphia, he started talking to folks. He said, wow, this was really great. We got to do this. You know, we just hang our lantern up at night outside our house, and they're saying, what do we want to do that for? I don't think so. But he did. He made sure the glass was clean on the lantern. Every night it was almost a ritual for him to hang his lantern outside his house. And pretty soon his neighbors started doing that. And it grew and it grew, and Philadelphia became the first city in the United States to have street lighting. And then of course it grew from there. So by hanging his lantern, by shining his light, other people saw it and said, oh, I want to do that too. I want to do that too. He gave them an opportunity to create something beautiful and wonderful and very practical as well. Being the light, shining your light, is a wonderful way to encourage the light in the world and in others. So what does it mean to shine our light? Ernest Holmes wrote, the science of mind teaches us to look for the good instead of evil, to praise and not condemn, to bless and curse not, to live each day as though the Spirit were guiding us, to have a firm conviction that we are counseled by divine wisdom and protected by infinite love. We should at all times sense this overshadowing presence and have implicit confidence in its direction. Now, the Science of Mind teaching has principles, has tools, and yet they don't work if we don't use them. If we don't remember the truth of our light, it makes it pretty hard to shine it. I mean, some shines through naturally, but if you want to really beam it out there, remembering that it's part of you is an important thing. So some of the ways that we can shine our light is that we can spread love and joy and grace and acceptance everywhere we go. We can remember to leave space for Spirit to show up in our lives. And of course we can do that through our teachings of meditation and prayer, because as we go into that silent space, Spirit speaks. As we spend that time, that like the people used to do in the dark times, as we spend, even if it's just 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, allowing that light to shine through us, it will. And we can also shine our light by practicing the practice of namaste. Now, namaste is a greeting, and it basically means the godness in me greets the godness in you. The divine in me recognizes and honors the divine in you. And so we see it not only in others, but we are reminded that it is in ourselves. and by allowing our lights to connect, there's more light in the world, and there's more peace in the world, and there's more love in the world. When we do that, we're gentler with ourselves. We're gentler with other people, more patient, more able to hear the divine as it speaks to us. It's a wonderful, wonderful practice. Namaste. Now, I also love to use my imagination. I mean, I love things that kind of help me see and feel and hear spirit. And so another thing that we can do that I will just pass on with you that may sound a little silly, but it sure works for me, is imagining a path before us that is filled with light. Now, I imagine it as these little tiny light particles that, I mean, there are zillions of them. They're kind of like fairy dust on the path. And of course, this is a path that goes before me wherever I go. It apparently knows where I'm going to go because it is always there, reaching into my future. But every time I take a step, it's like this fairy dust poofs up around me. And this dust, this fairy dust, this light is joy, it's love, it's beauty, it's power. We can call forth any quality of the divine into our path of light. Any quality we want. Prosperity, abundance, joy, patience. Anything we want, we can imbue into this light. Just call it forth. And then as we take a step, each breath, we can even imagine that it is coming to us on sounds that we hear. That there's just this magic light that comes along with every piece of music, every voice, every sound, allowing us to be surrounded by this light, surrounded by the divine, surrounded by the living light, the living spirit. For that's all there is. All there is. And our intention to use that, our intention to share that is powerful, powerful, powerful. The lights of the season can remind us of the living spirit, that the living light is always, always within us, around us. It's filling our path. It's working on our behalf. It is blessing us and allowing us to bless others. You are a precious gift of the spiritual light. It flows as you. It expresses as you. It loves as you. You're a miracle of light and creative potential, here to shine, here to spread joy, here to enjoy this amazing Christmas season. And so as you see the lights, let them in. All these little colors. Imagine that they are just here to bless you. Make your choices that will bring you connection with others, for that is so, so, so important. That is what this season is about. And connection with the divine within. For that's where our strength comes from. That's where our joy comes from. That's where our love comes from. That is our light, and we are here to shine it. So, how will you choose to shine your light this week? What choices will you make? What path will you walk on? How will you honor the light within yourself and within others? I know that you will. I know that you are. And I thank you for that. As practitioners stand, let's move into prayer. so here we are, in the midst of this light, knowing that it is also in the midst of us. Knowing that this light is all that is. There is nothing outside of this light that I call spirit. There is nothing outside this light that I call the divine. It is the beauty of the mountains with the snow on them, the beauty of the blue sky, the beauty of the hawks that we sometimes see landing in the trees and on the light posts and on the fence posts. The beauty of the faces. For each one of us is an expression of that oneness, of that light, of that joy, of that love. And so what I absolutely claim for each of us is that as we go forward this week, it is stepping on that path of light. That path that contains all that we could ever want, that just fluffs up around us to bless us as we breathe it in, as we are reminded that we are the light. We have come to shine, we have come to enjoy this light. We have come to share this light. And so I know that each of us does that in our own particular ways, our own unique ways as only we can, as we are guided by the divine, as we spend time in connection with the divine. This light just grows and grows and grows. And I'm so, so thankful that as we are aware of it, as it is our intention to shine it happens even more. For this part of God that we call the law has all of the stuff and all of the know-how to bring anything into manifestation. And it is doing so on our behalf, supporting us in shining our amazing divine light. And so in great gratitude, I simply let this go. Let God do what God does so well, which is manifest what we have called forth, which is shine in, through, around us. It is good and very good. And I invite you to say with me, and so it is.
All right, this is I Am the Light, Richard McDeesey. I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. You are the light of God. You are the love of God. You are the power of God. You are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. We are the light of God. We are the love of God. We are the power of God. We are the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
And so it is. And as the light of God, as the abundance of God, this is our time to share our abundance as we share our gifts and our tithes and our offerings. And I also want to remind you that